Hello, hello, everyone. 12:01 p.m. on August 19th. This is showing you imperfection and beauty all at once. We don't have to be on time to be magnificent. So this is Misha, and I am just delighted to be here today. Wanting to let's see, one thing is happening strangely in my, that's okay. All right. So I'm delighted today to be introducing you to Mirella Del Mondo. And we are talking about the coexistence, joy, pain, and truth about setting boundaries. And just a reminder, my name is Misha Safran. I am a multilingual inspirational speaker. I am an award-winning, actually, inspirational speaker. And I am also the founder of this podcast, Coexistence, Joy, Pain, and Truth. And finally, I am an academic life coach working with middle schoolers and high schoolers and freshmen, sophomores in college with their executive functioning. Basically, the synonym to that is adulting. So thank you all for your confidence in me. And I'm grateful that I'm able to introduce to you Mirella. Hello, Mirella. How are you today?
Hello, I am so thrilled to be here. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. I super appreciate that. And I just realized I have a funny view on the camera, so I'm going to change it just a little bit because I'm going to want to add questions in every once in a while. So we're going to go backwards a little bit. And so I'd like to introduce your bio. So let me just read your bio to everyone. So Mirella has spent over 3 decades practicing and teaching in the alternative health sector, yoga therapy, and mind-body medicine. In 2003, she founded Awareness Adventures, running yoga retreats around the world. That is so cool. In 2010, after dealing with an emotional breakdown and gaining skills to heal her own dysfunctional past, she found her true purpose in empowering other women around the world to reclaim their worth. Trained in the accelerated results system and the VITA method of trauma-informed coaching, Mirella specializes in women's empowerment, love, and relationships. That is a really important specialty to have. Mirella is the founder of Radiant Aware Women, providing personalized VIP packages and group programs. She has a hoot hosting fun live events for your education and transformation. And we'll talk about more of who the your is, but specifically it is women. And she is excited to invite you. We'll talk more about this too towards the end of the interview. Her 3-day challenge. It's a free 3-day challenge called Badass Boundaries. And that is starting on September 1st at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wherever else you are in the world, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. And then every day there'll be prizes, but each attendee will receive her 3-part audio series for creating badass adventures. And so I brought Mirella here today and invited her to be with me because of this 3-day challenge that she's doing, but also because this topic of setting boundaries is really, really a big one, especially for women. But there are a lot of men out there that also are challenged by the setting of boundaries. What are the healthy boundaries? What are the firm boundaries? What are the firm, healthy boundaries? And so today, Mirella, I just want to ask you a couple questions, and then I'd love to go into that topic even deeper. So when we talk about the coexistence of joy and pain, what alone does that bring up for you? Just that title, coexistence, joy and pain, and the truth of it.
Well, I think without one, you can't fully feel the other.
Isn't that the truth? That is really, and there you go, joy and pain and truth. You just said it all in one quick summary. That's great. That's great. And do you feel like, I really could resonate with that emotional breakdown piece in your bio. I've definitely had my moments, and more years ago than today. I'm a healthier woman today, thank goodness. And I'm super grateful for that ability to be aware that when I'm feeling pain, whether it's emotional or physical, it doesn't always mean that there's something wrong with me or that there's something wrong with my life.
That is so true. I resonate so deeply with this because I think many people, and I'll talk about women here because I find that it's more for women, but not exclusively, feel that, when they don't feel good or things happen, they feel a certain way, they make mistakes, that they're broken, that there's something wrong with them.
Right. And there's not.
No.
Necessarily. It's like we make mistakes. We're not a mistake, right? So we're able to really, when we're able to identify that we're just having feelings, that it's okay.
Yeah, just because we have to, it doesn't mean we don't have to work on ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't have the inner work. But the important thing is we're not broken. And, I think often, boundaries and feeling broken are very, very closely related.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say, one of the things that I used to actually call this podcast Passing Joy Around the World, and it still is called Passing Joy Around the World, because in fact, this is number 46. I can't believe I've had 46 episodes of this podcast. Wow. I know. I'm thinking about that going, this is crazy. I started last year, March. So with this notion of passing joy around the world, I love what you said about, well, you can't really have one without the other. So it's hard to understand and accept, but without this notion and understanding of some kinds of pain, we really don't recognize, well, many people are not able to recognize the joy.
A teacher of mine taught me something, a teacher and mentor taught me something very interesting, because often, we avoid emotions. We're really scared of emotions. We think if we feel angry or we feel scared, something is wrong with us. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. And she said, our emotions are like goddesses here to teach us, and we've just got to dance with them. So, yes, and they're here to teach us certain lessons, different lessons. And when we honor these lessons, we begin to relate differently to our emotions. They become our teachers versus our enemies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That definitely holds true for me. As long as I, take them and go, well, number one, they're temporary. Yeah. And number two, they're a teacher. And number three, they're actually also holding me with love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Wonderful. So what kinds of boundaries, I know that your challenge, you're going to be talking about badass boundaries, but what is the joy of having boundaries? Let's start with the pain. What's the pain of setting a boundary?
Okay, people are scared of losing love, approval, acceptance of others, that people won't like them if they set boundaries. So there's, people have a lot of fear around rejection with setting boundaries, or I'm a bad person if I set boundaries, I'm mean. And boundaries are not brick walls. Boundaries are pliable. You can put them up when you need, you can take them down. You're not shutting people out by having boundaries.
Or if you are, those people aren't supposed to be in your life anyways.
Okay, I'll reframe them. It's around boundaries. It's around shutting out what's unhealthy for you, what doesn't serve you. And it's often in the long term, maybe not in the short term, which serves the other person as well. So, but,
absolutely.
There's safety when it's okay. We don't have to have them up for life and walk around like this,
right.
Or stamped on our forehead. Like some people here, boundaries, that means I say no to everything. No, it could mean that you say yes to yourself. It could mean that you say yes when you don't say no. It goes two ways.
Yes, 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 and yes. I love that, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, the thing you said about doesn't mean that people are going to shut down away from you, but the more you create these healthy boundaries, the healthier people you have in your life. So you won't need to have all those boundaries, right? Because you're attracting people, and that's the joy of setting boundaries, right?
Yes, healthy and more conscious relationships, definitely. Or improving the dynamics in the ones that you have, because we often say, well, I'm the victim. People are doing this to me. Yes, people do do really mean stuff. People do stuff that hurts. But our part is that we enable them. So when we stand for our healthy boundaries, we're stepping out of the victim and into the victor role in our life. Into empowerment.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about that. The victor and victim, the joy and the pain here as a result of setting boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, the victim feels that they have to defend themselves, that everybody's doing stuff to them. How do I know? I'm an expert. I've done it for years to myself. I've seen this with my clients. So many clients go through this. A lot of it is trauma-based. A lot of it is things that have happened in, different parts of our life, and often early childhood, that they happen by default under the surface. We don't even realize what's going on. We just run on autopilot. It's not that we're doing something wrong. There's often just something going on underneath that's unconscious. It's not bad. It's just there. And when we work on ourselves, to create boundaries, we have to look at ourselves, take responsibility, not that we've done something wrong, but to step out of being a victim to taking responsibility in our life. And that can be painful sometimes to look at. Oh my God, is this what I've been doing? But no shame in it. It's just part of the human condition.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's part of our awakening.
Absolutely. So what's an example of a baby step boundary that somebody could make?
I think a baby step boundary is when someone asks you to do something, we'll often default to a yes when we really mean no. Or actually, some people could say no to something that is a yes because they're so used to protecting themselves. Their boundaries are kind of like too strong. So badass boundaries is about healthy boundaries. It's not just about boundaries. It's about conscious boundaries. And when we have a choice. I mean, I have a practice that I recommend for people. If you know that you're going to have a conversation with someone, and you know that you're going to say yes to something that you regret, or you suspect it, or you might feel guilty or obligated or whatever, there is a third option to yes and no. And that's maybe.
I know, isn't that cool?
Give me a moment. I'll get back to you. So you're not just saying a flat no, but you're also respecting yourself. You're also inviting others to really respect you as well. So I
would almost consider that the baby step boundary making.
Because
somebody might really struggle. Yeah, they might struggle to say no, and they may struggle to say yes. And it's like, if I say maybe, then I'm giving myself time to step back and think about it and come back to you, right?
Absolutely. You've got it, Misha. That's exactly it. So that is the baby step, and then you can think about it and deal with it however you deal with it. Do whatever you need that it makes you easier. And, maybe it's okay to say the yes. You check in, you go, actually, this time it's okay. Or no, it doesn't work. And, you don't have to say a flat out no. You can just go, no, this doesn't work for me right now. Or this doesn't work in this way. It doesn't have to, boundaries don't have to shut people out. And I think that's what scares people. They think they're going to be mean. They're going to think I'm a selfish bitch. And you're not.
Exactly.
You're a selfful person. You're beginning to care for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. And, I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that even if you do say no, or you do say yes, being healthy in your boundary setting is you're allowed to change your mind.
Now that's it. That's a big one, Misha, because many people go, oh my God, I've blown it. I've said yes to something I don't want to do. I have to do it now. I'm obligated. But you know what? It's true. We can always change our minds and go, sorry, I didn't. I didn't think this out properly. You know, I really care. You can acknowledge people too, and acknowledge the
Absolutely.
disappointment, and also acknowledge that this doesn't feel right for you, that you made a mistake. So what? We all, you know, we all make errors of judgment. It's not a biggie. So yes, we can take things back.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily errors of judgment. I mean, from my own experience, and maybe there are people who are watching that are resonating. If you'd like to participate in this conversation, please feel free to tell us how you're feeling and what you're thinking as you're hearing this conversation. But for me, for example, I have an injury right now. And before and without the injury, I suffer from chronic pain. So I will say yes to meeting someone and have to cancel because by the time I'm getting close to that appointment, I have to say, you know what, in order for me to make sure I get to certain accomplishments or certain tasks for the day, I have to take these 3 out. But I may not know that till the morning. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that there's actually a high level of respect when you're able to come for you yourself and for the other people. Because when I am with people, I want to be present with them. I don't
Yeah.
want to just show up half-assed. And so if I have an appointment with somebody, whether it's a friend or a commitment of other kinds, I want to give them my full self. And if I know even an hour before that that's just not going to be the case, I'm respecting myself and them by saying, I know this is an inconvenience and I have to reschedule. You know, and I've learned, thank goodness, through my challenges and I now preface everything. I tell everybody, like I have a friend I'm supposed to see on Friday at 2:00. And I told my friend, I said, you know what, just FYI, I'm suffering from a concussion and a sprained ankle. I'm recovering. I'm getting better and better, but it's very likely that on Friday morning, I'm going to wake up and have to cancel. And he said, you know what? Thanks for giving me the heads up. You know, and so it used to be that I wouldn't do that. One, either I would cancel and feel like shit because I canceled, or two, I wouldn't cancel. I would go and I'd be really uncomfortable and miserable. And then so would my friend.
I love that. I love how you preempt it too. You give your permission, yourself permission to change your mind and say no. And the funny thing that came into my head was it's better to be badass than to be half-assed.
There you go. You can take it. I just gave it to you. It's all yours. Yes. Yes, it absolutely is better to be badass than half-assed. Absolutely. And badass doesn't mean you're a bitch. Badass doesn't mean you're aggressive. Badass just means you are exercising self-care and self-respect, which actually equates to other people having self-respect and respect for you, right? That's modeling at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you don't care. You're actually modeling self-care to people. You're giving them permission to do that as well when you do that, because you're faking it, they're faking it. It's not an authentic relationship. It's not a healthy relationship. And having badass boundaries is about creating, you know, beautiful, healthy relationships with more care, you know, with more understanding of where the other person is at. And it actually, you create more intimacy.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You
definitely.
can be real with people, you know, more authenticity with others. And then if you're doing things that you don't want, and like you said, you're not totally present a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I learned this badass boundaries really smacked me in the face when I was about to put this out earlier this year. Because I had a ovarian cyst, 16 by 18 centimeters.
Wow.
That suddenly grew. I had to stop everything. I had to drop everything. And this wasn't just about boundaries around other people. It was boundaries with how I was being with myself.
Yes.
Luckily, it wasn't cancerous. I did a lot of sort of purging, you know, on all levels, internal, external. I did end up having to get an operation, but it taught me so much. And I feel sort of stepping into this even more authentically, this whole topic, because as I said, it's not been my strong point. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah, you had to lead by example because of that experience.
And I don't want to disappoint them.
Right.
And I push myself a lot when I do that too, in ways that are unfair to me. Then in the end, you're wiped out and you can't show up for anyone.
Right. Absolutely. You know, and I'm thinking about different kinds of relationships, but you think about intimate relationships, whether it's with siblings or with other family members, or in partnership, you know, where there are so many relationships where people walk forward thinking, well, it's compromise. He wants to do this, she wants to do that, she wants to do, in whatever kind of relationship you're in. I'm not in a heterosexual relationship, but there are all different ways of identifying this.
Yeah.
But the idea of thinking that if my partner wants to do something and I don't really want to do it, I do it anyways. But a healthy, what I see, boundary in a relationship like that is you talk about it. They want to do it, you want to support them, but how can you do it and support them and still be comfortable and present? As opposed to, I'm just compromising. Oh my God, I don't like this. I'm going to go anyways. Right? So this whole notion of conversation and dialogue around these boundaries is also what I feel, and that's part of what I do. Is
Mm.
really important. You know, is getting the dialogue out,
Mm.
and not that this person has to feel bad for liking what they like and wanting to do what they do, but that
Yeah.
we understand each other's differences so we can appreciate each other's differences, right? And then set
Yeah.
healthy boundaries. Maybe it's actually that my partner would actually be happier going with somebody who is more interested in what they're interested in. And I'll stay home and do my thing, right? And then that could actually end up being great because they come back, they're happy, they're excited, and they can talk about it. So this whole thing about boundaries and relationships too is something for people to explore. Like, am I a people pleaser? Am I giving myself up for that person and their likes and dislikes? Very interesting. Yeah, I'm like, my head is going all over different places, but
I love what you shared. I just love what you shared. That's so true. They could be having a better time with someone else. There might be someone more suitable to step up for the job. Or, you can negotiate. You might ask to have your needs met, because people with poor boundaries often have trouble expressing what they feel and asking for their needs to be met. And this is a very relational thing.
it
So
is.
this gives you, when you're setting boundaries, you're giving yourself permission to be real with people. And yes, you can negotiate. Sometimes you do give a little bit and they give a little bit, but it's not a
Absolutely.
one-way street. You're not the one who's always, saying yes or conceding or whatever. So yeah, there is give and take in relationships, and sometimes strong boundaries are important, and there's ways you can navigate differently through them. So yes, boundaries are very fluid. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people see the title "Badass Boundaries" and they think I have to be a hard bitch, and it's not true. It's not true. It's about being selfful versus selfish, and that is not
Absolutely.
self-care, self-respect, giving other people permission is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I would love for you to tell everybody about your 3-day challenge, the Badass Boundaries, which you said starts on September 1st. You want to give people a little insight, and I'll actually also send the uh, link for people to register while you're talking about it.
Thank you. Yes, well, it's going to be a lot of fun. All the live events I do have fun. We have fun doing this, and you're going to be with other people, like-minded, like-hearted women in the same space. We're going to explore initially what's behind us, what's driving us, what's happening, in the background. Why are we going on autopilot into it? Because sometimes say, I'm going to do it, and then we don't.
Right. Right.
And beat ourselves up or whatever, and then do it again. So we're going to look at what's behind that. Then we're going to look at different ways to deal with it. We're going to be doing embodied practices. So it's not just a whole lot of talk. It's going to be interactive. We are going to be doing embodied practices by ourselves, led practices to tap into how we can feel when we're out of integrity with our boundaries. It's not just a head thing, it's a body thing too. And a lot of people think it's a head thing, and that doesn't work. So it's very experiential. And then the fun part is we start to put our what we learn into practice. So you actually come away with something. It's not just all stuff in your head. It's not just conceptual. You come away with tools. And the 3 audios, you're going to be gifted 3 audios at the end of it for attending. The whole 3 days, you'll be given a 3-part audio system with practices that are around 15 minutes that you can do anytime. You can download them onto your laptop, onto your phone, and then if you have an important meeting, or you know that you're going to crack under the pressure or something, you play this, you connect with your body, you practice, and you practice them as many times as you need to, over and over again. Some areas people need more practice than others. It's a great tool. It's
what a great gift
to play with. Yeah.
Wow. And so I was realizing I was trying to put the link in, but it's Eventbrite, right? It goes to Eventbrite.
It's on Eventbrite. When
Okay.
you can register through Eventbrite is great, because then you'll get reminders, because I know I
Okay.
sometimes forget something, go, oh no, I just missed it. So you'll get reminders of the event. And
Okay.
then I suggest joining the private Facebook group, where everything is confidential. It'll be live streamed in there in case the timing doesn't work out. You may be at work, you may have another commitment. It doesn't mean that you'll miss out. The recordings will be up for a few days.
Okay.
And so going into the private group, you'll be able to see the live streams for a few days.
And what's the name of the private group, Mirella?
Radiant Women Rising.
I love that. Radiant Women, plural?
Yes, Rising.
Okay, Radiant Women Rising. So let me show everybody that. Radiant Women Rising. So if you want to be part of this group, just search for it on Facebook and it'll come up. Make sure you see Mirella's name, because she's the founder of that group, and click add, and then it'll be even easier to get updates and participate. And yeah, that's really cool.
I can send it to you too, so that you can post it under the recording, wherever you want, so people have access to both. Yeah,
that would be great. That would be wonderful. So if there were one tip that you would just give people to, women to take away with today, or people in general, what would that be for this, either this notion of accepting and understanding the having to create boundaries, or this part that you talked about, setting boundaries in a healthy way? What's a tip that you can give our listeners or viewers?
I think, well, with this, maybe it gives you time to step back and tune into what's right. Like you can even say, I'll get back to you in 5 minutes. I've just got something on. Whatever. If you're not sure, you feel that you could weaken, or that you're not ready to make a decision, don't allow people or circumstances to pressure you in any way. And I think it's just take off the pressure of how you're supposed to be doing this. Sit back, do what feels right. And like Misha says, you can course correct. You can take it back. It's not too late. So
absolutely.
Oh, you've got that. Thank you.
I did. I put it up there for you. And just a reminder, Mirella is having her 3-day challenge, Badass Boundaries, lots of tools, tips, and education and fun. So you definitely want to register. I did put the Eventbrite registration in the post. I'll put it in the comments as well. And I think it's really important. One of the things, I just had a brain space. 1 second. I'm going to come back to it. Well, I'm not remembering what I wanted to say. I just totally lost it. But I just appreciate your being here, Mirella. And I think that what you're doing for women is a really important thing. Boundaries are something. Oh, I know what it was. Okay. So here's one small, simple sample of a boundary. I'm driving on the freeway. I'm driving 65 miles an hour. the speed limit is 65 miles an hour. Actually, maybe I'm going 68 and somebody is right behind me. I can do two things, maybe. One, I could change lanes if there is a lane to change into to let them pass me. That's setting up a healthy boundary, saying, I don't want you behind me. You're unsafe. I'm going to move over here. Go ahead. Hope you don't cause damage to anybody else. Or number two, I can continue to drive safely in my lane and they can change lanes. This is a very big thing for people because a lot of people will get scared, they'll get panicked, they'll get angry, they'll get frustrated, or they'll speed, they'll break their own boundary of the way they're driving to get that person to change or to move them off their back. And when we think about this, we don't know that person behind us. So it's a safe place most of the time to create a boundary, to take care of ourselves. And so I would love to invite everyone out there who's listening and who had this conversation with me and Mirella to think about what could be one small way in your life today and of creating a boundary that feels good to you, that takes care of you. And what would be the pain of doing that? Maybe the fear, right? But what would be the joy of doing that? And as we talked about, there's that victim and that victor, right? That came right out of Mirella's mouth. So think about, and I would love for you all to post that in the comments, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook. And then if you didn't get to watch the live, please put hashtag replay so that we know that you're watching the replay. Love to hear and read what people have to say. So thank you, Mirella, so much. I really wish you the best. I hope this 3-day challenge brings lots of wonderful golden nuggets to everyone that attends. And I know I'm looking forward to seeing pieces of it. And yeah, thank you so much for being my guest. I don't want you to go away because when we end the live stream, I want to sit with you for just a moment, but we'll just say goodbye to our audience. Woohoo! Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, everyone who's watching now, watching later. Thank you, Misha. It's been an honor to be here. Appreciate you so much. And this has just been such a delightful conversation. Thank you so much. And
my pleasure.
Lots of love, and all of you, lots of love.
Thank you. All right. Bye, you guys.